Hi, and welcome to the Toon Goons, a podcast in which we take an adult and critical perspective into the world of cartoons and animation, and analyze how they affect the pop cultural landscape at large. I'm your host, Nikki.
I'm Nina.
And I'm Scott Bakula, and I don't remember being in this movie.
Yeah.
Bakula.
I don't know anything about him.
Quantum Leap, and he's on one of the NCISs now. Oh, and Star Trek Voyager, the bad one.
Nothing.
Enterprise.
Doesn't do anything for me.
Enterprise. Voyager was apparently pretty alright.
Well, people who know who he is are baffled that he's in this film.
This week, we are talking about the 1997 flop, but beloved hit of Nina's childhood, and I also very liked it growing up too, Cats Don't Dance.
It wasn't a critical flop.
Other than a critical flop, but it made back a tenth of its money at the box office.
Yeah. That's because they only made one poster for it. One.
What, in existence?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. I mean, one poster design or whatever.
We just watched it today. I think it holds up, definitely.
Yeah.
But first we got a lot of news we got to talk about, so let's get into that.
Super fun coming up on Nickelodeon's line of rebooted stuff, along with the Hey Arnold movie and Legend of the Hidden Temple.
And that Avengers thing that's still, crossover cartoon Nickelodeon Avengers thing that still sounds like Dumpus.
Yeah, I don't know. We're getting a TV Rocko's Modern Life movie.
Oh boy.
Yay! It's Joe Murray, the creator, is on board. He will return as executive producer and co-director of the film. And it will be produced out of Nickelodeon's animation studios in Burbank. And it's going to be a 1-hour TV special. Murray said that he's very happy to be joining Rocko and my friends from O-Town again. What I found by bringing these characters back is that it's not so much about nostalgia, but a sense that they still feel relevant and fresh to me. And after 20 years, they can't wait to comment on a modern life in the 21st century. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I always liked Rocko's Modern Life, even if I didn't get all the adult jokes.
Yeah, Rocco's one of those ones that's a lot better to go back to later in life.
Yeah.
You miss a lot of nuance.
You missed the part where they go to a motel and the sign says hourly rates.
You miss a part where Rocco gets a job as a sex phone operator.
You missed that part where Heifer watches the Kennedy assassination on TV.
You missed the part where they're trying to grow grass in Rocco's lawn, so Heifer goes out there and takes a shit.
You don't miss that part where really, really big man's future vision or whatever is transmitted through his nipples. It's hard to miss.
You miss the part where the big heads have coitus by smashing plates that they've thrown in the air with their frog tongues.
You missed that the big head's son was just Joe Murray.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I want to revisit Rocco in any capacity, because here's the thing, I'm spent. That's all I remember. And
Yeah.
that Spunky was, didn't have bones.
I remember that one joke where he had appendicitis,
Oh, yeah.
and he went to the hospital, and they're like, "Okay, sir, please fill out all these forms," and he's like dying.
Yeah, and it's an appendix that goes to body part heaven with his baby teeth and his tonsils.
Yeah, but I also remember once he finally finishes filling out the paper, she picks up the first one. It's like, "Okay, mister, the pain is excruciating. Please help me. Come this way." Anyway, so we're not 100% sure on a date on that.
I mean, I know, obviously, Alice Racky and Kenny are still working. Who played the big heads?
That's Charlie Adler and someone else as Mr. Big Head.
And then who was Filbert?
Filbert was Mr. Lawrence. He was Plankton and SpongeBob, yeah.
Yeah, Doug Lawrence, yeah. Yeah, they should hopefully still come back. They're all working.
Yeah.
Yeah. That show gave them all their break, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, literally for Kenny, it was his first deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although I think Charlie Adler was working before then. Yeah. No, he was working. I think he was in 80s shit.
Yeah.
So watch out for a date for that one.
Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby.
Okay, so next up is we are getting a Korean animated and directed film, I have to specify, because a lot of films are actually animated in Korea. They do most of the animation work that's outsourced. Anytime animation is outsourced, it's outsourced to Korea. But this is a 100% Korean production film, and it's going to be coming to North America. It's called Soul Station.
Soul like the city.
Like the city.
Is it a pun though? It's like Soul Station. Is it a pun because we're dealing with the undead?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe.
It's directed by Sang Ho-yeon, who directed The King of Pigs and The Fake. It's described as highly entertaining and socially aware. It's considered the prequel to his live-action horror film Train to Busan, and it's a breakout hit in Korea right now. It's currently the highest-grossing film of 2016 there, and with over $73 million in the box office.
That's for Train to Busan.
Yeah, okay.
Seoul Station opens up next week in Korea.
Okay. But if that's how Train to Busan was, then presumably this will be.
It's a zombie movie?
Yes.
And Nina and I just watched the trailer, and it looks like a zombie movie. But the animation sounds pretty cool. Yeah, it doesn't really look like anything I've seen before.
It's an ultra-low budget feature. It's made for well under $1 million. It kind of almost looks like a bit of rotoscoping, but on like 3D models. I think maybe it's like 3D models with 2D faces.
Like a almost like a Paperman kind of deal?
Kind of. That's sort of what it looks like. It's being distributed by FilmRise, which is the same company that released the film Monster Hunt, which we talked about a while back, that Chinese live-action animated film.
Oh, yeah.
With the onion boy.
Yeah. Which didn't do great over here, but I don't know.
Yeah, like, it is coming. We don't have a date, but it is planning for both theaters and VOD. And it looks kind of interesting. I mean, I do wonder, like, if we need another zombie movie.
Well,
but
absolutely not.
On its own, no.
We could certainly use some good international animation. So I'm willing to give it a pass.
It doesn't look like a low budget animated picture. Like, it's certainly not the highest budget looking animation I've ever seen, but it doesn't look cheap.
Not really. It's stylized enough that it doesn't look cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got some cell shading shit going on.
As far as plot can tell, all I can tell, it's just zombies. Like, the trailer doesn't really give way to any sort of particular gimmick. I mean, we have a main cast of characters that we're invested in, but there isn't anything on the surface that seems different, but we shall see. How about a quickie? Here's just a small one. Rick and Morty is just gonna have more merchandising happening. So if you've been wondering where it's all at, it's coming. You're gonna get new apparel, accessories from all these different companies, and you're gonna see them in your stores. So if you've been wondering where all the Rick and Morty love is, it's on its way. Everything you could possibly imagine, from bags to wallets to wristbands to stickers to buttons to shirts to sweatshirts to apparel and t-shirts.
At the bottom of this article are some, like, Christmas sweater looking things.
There's this amazing
like Cosby-ass Christmas sweater.
Yeah, it's Happy Human Holiday. And then on the back it says Giant naked sky Santa has exploded. So, if you want to be inappropriate at your next Christmas gathering, look forward to that.
And you do.
Yep.
Let's see. Okay, more of a story. DC and the CW network has announced that in 2017 they will launch an animated series entitled Freedom Fighters: The Ray, based on the comic book characters of the same name. The Ray is significant because he is the first lead gay superhero in a television program. He's canonically gay in the comics, and so presumably he shall be in this adaptation about him as well. It's done by the CW team who've been working on Arrow and all that other stuff. The show will center on Ray Terrell, who first appeared in his own comic book in 1992, who was conceived by Jack Harris and Joe Quesada. His story begins when a reporter he discovers a secret government science project to turn light into a destructive new weapon. Before he can spill the beans, the project head exposes Ray to a genetic light bomb, which fails to kill him but does gift him with special light-based abilities. Taking on the mantle of the Ray, the reporter-turned-hero is recruited by Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. Okay.
All right, sounds like it could be entertaining.
Yeah. Did the Vixen CW thing come out?
It came out. I never watched it.
Okay.
We never followed up.
Whoops. But that's cool. Let's see. I also have this story about this upcoming... It's more a preschool level television show, but it has about robots, and it looks so cute. It's called Ask the Storybots, and it's an original series from Jib Jab. Those people who do the greeting cards and stuff.
The e-cards, like the politics stuff.
And they're doing kind of like their own sort of like mixed media kids educational program.
I like if they're trying to do Sesame Street.
Yeah.
With its own hook.
Yeah. But it's got robots in it and it looks really cute.
And Weird Al and Kevin Smith.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Weird Al Yankovic, there's a guest star in each episode, and Weird Al Yankovic's episode is going to be called Where Do French Fries Come From? We also got Chris Parnell's going to be in an episode as well.
With Tim Meadows.
Yeah.
Garfunkel and Oates are going to be in there.
Jay Leno, Whoopi Goldberg. It just looks really cute because it's has 2D animation, 3D, stop motion. It's fun. Puppets, fun time.
Which, this actually reminds me of another kids Netflix exclusive preschool program that we stumbled upon recently. After Nina and I watched the new Ever After High special, which is what we're going to be talking about next week, the recommended was all like children's stuff. And one of them was a show called The Beat Bugs. Tooch, have you heard of this?
I have not.
The Beat Bugs is a CGI animated kid show about a bunch of bugs who help people, but the whole thing is set to Beatles music, and each song has one Beatles song in it that they've licensed and have like a new performance of, including like Eddie Vedder. So like there's episodes called like Help, or When I'm 64, where one of the bugs gets clobbered on the head and has a dream about his future, or For the Benefit of Mr. Kite, where there's some kind of circus, although that song is about the most haunted circus in the world. What is crazy, though, is that there is an episode called Why Don't We Do It in the Road?
I was about to make a joke! No, not allowed.
It's not
It's
a joke,
the last
it's real.
one you could do.
There's so many other songs they could have done.
Somebody dared somebody else.
Yeah,
To get away with it. Like, is there anything worse? No.
Maybe context-wise, I don't know.
Like, I mean, maybe Run for Your Life.
Oh, yeah.
Which is especially worse now that we know what a shithead John Lennon was. I hate that song.
Yeah, it's a bad song.
Yeah.
he has apologized. He did apologize for it before he died. But...
Here's the last episode of the season was Blackbird, sure. The penultimate episode was Carry That Weight, and I'm like, how dare you not make that the last episode of the whole series? Fuck the end, fuck Her Majesty. Carry That Weight is the heart of the Abbey Road medley.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love Abbey. I think Abbey Road might be my favorite album of them, of the Beatles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about the show is that it's got a finite run because there are only so many Beatles songs, and also only so many that they actually wrote. Maybe half of them. Like almost all the first couple albums just go in the can.
Yeah, they're all covers.
They're all covers.
So last but not least,
I mean, Please Me? I don't think you could do that one.
Yeah, maybe not. Okay. So last but not least, we have a story that you've all probably heard about, talked about.
The day that we are recording, which is Saturday the 13th of August, 2016, it is the only thing that has been on my timeline all day. Yeah. And then I contributed to it because I got worked up about it.
Yeah, it's the only thing I've seen on my timeline as well. And that is that Steven Universe artist and just general cool person, Lauren Zook, has deleted her Twitter because of fan harassment. As you know, Nikki has a weird thing with Lauren Zook.
We're gonna get to that. I think she's just amazing. Like, she's so funny and her art is so good.
Yeah. Nikki was on the Lauren Zook train before her episodes on Steven started coming out.
Before she even started working for him. Like, back when she was still living in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Like, her old comic Rachel and Penny. When I found out she was working for my favorite show, I was ecstatic.
Yeah. She was just receiving harassment from, the aggressive side of the Steven Universe fandom. apparently over shipping wars.
Ever since it started after Beta aired, which I mean we're gonna talk about the actual content of that fucking episode at the end of this. At the end of this show,
which apparently there was some hints and leaks about. There was leaked footage months before that that the same kinds of fans who would get over a shipping war who would also find this kind of crazy leaked footage. Found it and were upset because it portrayed Lapis and Peridot as having a possible relationship of some kind, even though a lot of people were already on the Peridot Amethyst train from that one episode, which is fine.
What's not fine?
They got really upset about it, and they started tweeting viciously at Zook for showing favoritism, even accusing her of queer baiting.
Which, if we may interrupt...
That's the most ridiculous fucking thing I've ever heard in my life!
It is.
Like, that's the worst discourse I've ever... Like, oh my god!
It's an extremely queer-positive show. Lauren Zook herself is openly and vocally gay.
Queer baiting, a good example of queer baiting as it actually exists, is, say, like, the stuff they do with the Sherlock series.
All the other things Tumblr likes.
Yeah.
Where the writers will sort of try to imply the existence of queerness among their characters without explicitly stating it, so as to appeal to a queer audience without alienating the rest of their audience.
Yeah, Sherlock is a great example. Steve and Bucky is a great example, which Tumblr adores.
Supernatural, heck. I mean, you could say anything has queer baiting in it if there are two characters you think have some kind of chemistry together.
Like a lot of anime. Most anime.
Obviously that's dumb, because one, there are other obviously queer characters in Steven Universe. Two, Lauren Zook herself is gay.
And it's also not, like...
And three, it's not her call.
Yeah, here's the thing, is that the way that this show works is that the Storyboard Partners write... They write the episode. They write the screenplay, essentially. They don't determine the story from whole cloth. They have an outline from a story crew, which includes Rebecca Sugar.
Yeah.
They get to, create all the dialogue and specific events, but they're not working without a net or without any guidance. And another thing, and this really didn't sit well with me, is that every episode Lauren Zook has boarded, say for her first episode, Chillatide, she co-boarded with Hilary Florido, who, to my knowledge, did not get any of this flack. To me says that Zook was specifically targeted because she's openly and vocally gay and is all the time talking about shipping on her own social media presence because it's something that she just really loves. And this is what I want to get back to about, my appreciation for Zook and her work, is that I can't think of any other artist who's that honest on the page. And not just in her work, but also just like on her Twitter. Like it's so transparent to see, like, what she is and who she is and what she's about. Like whenever she loves something, that's what her Twitter is that day. And it's infectious no matter what it is. A couple of weeks ago, she went to a Medieval Times that did a special Blizzard night. It was like Warcraft and Overwatch and all these people with, like, hitting each other with lances. And, like, I don't give a shit about any of that stuff, but I'm watching her go nuts about this. And it's infectious.
Yeah, I love when she'll just go on World of Warcraft tangents about, like, the lore that no one but her cares about, and, like, orc canon shit.
Yeah,
like,
she's so uncompromisingly...
Talking about Nerf guns, like...
Yeah, so uncompromisingly honest in everything she does. And it's such a shame... And that absolutely came through in the show. Like, more so than anyone else, I'm able to pick out Zook's influence in the episodes she boards, but that's because I was already very familiar with her art. Yeah. I've probably seen her drawings of Lapis Lazuli on Tumblr more than I've seen Lapis in the show itself.
She loves Lapis.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is that she's very vocal about all this gay, about, queer representation and shipping, almost always lesbian shipping. And the queer baiting thing is so ridiculous because that's such a knee-jerk thing, because they're like, oh, you faked this out on Peridot Amethyst. for another queer relationship, which is equally not as canon.
Yeah.
They're just playing with it. It's just character dynamics.
Yeah, they haven't, like... You're allowed to ship whatever characters you want. But,
Yeah, here's the... Yeah, like...
It has enough... That doesn't mean you're entitled to having your particular ship become the reality in the show. And if you don't get your way, that means the creators are all bigots.
Yeah, like, one thing I saw a lot is said, these kinds of people, and, like, I call them Tumblr teens, which is, kind of an overly encompassing umbrella, because obviously not everyone on Tumblr is doing that. But you know the people I'm talking about when I say Tumblr teens. People, which is to say people with extremely small worlds and huge axes to grind.
Yeah.
There's this whole thing that, whenever a queer or female or trans or person of color creator is doing anything to represent their people in media, it's held to such a sickeningly high, impossible standard that if it deviates from, for a second, the person is put out on a witch hunt. Whereas,
it's disgusting.
Whereas creators who don't fall into those categories, who do try to represent other groups, are applauded for even trying, no matter how clumsy or downright bad it might be. And like we said, people are still eating up this queer baiting bullshit of like Stucky and Sherlock or whatever. And let me be clear about this. If you like that shit, it's fine. Like, it's like, have your fun. This is to quote my own Twitter earlier, like, I want to make this point emphatically, like, your headcanon about what the show should be or what these characters should be does not matter. Your fan theories do not matter. Your ships, your OTP, they do not matter. They're fantasies. Which is not to say that that's an inherently a bad or even valueless thing. Fantasies are fun. Have your fun. But once you start demanding that reality adhere to the whims of your fantasies, that is fucking sociopathic behavior.
Yeah.
It's not cool, guys.
And this is something that has been brewing in all aspects of nerd culture for a long time. And I think it got much worse once...
It's entitlement.
It's nerd entitlement. It's I see it, like, I follow, video game news a lot, and I see it all the fucking time. Yeah. Like, I think once we started saying that nerd culture became mainstream, we opened the floodgates for this. Because nerds were always doing that, but in very insulated ways.
And they didn't have social media platforms to vocalize these opinions.
Creators have never been more accessible. Back in the day, you couldn't just go yell at someone real quick. You would have to email them, and then they could just delete it once they read your stupid subject line and not even see it.
I follow Rebecca Sugar on Instagram, and she mostly just shows pictures of stuff that she's doing, or pancakes she made that day, like a normal human being. And all the comments are this crazy barrage of questions and demands and about the show.
Creators owe you nothing.
They don't.
In that regard. I feel like the point of no return,
they're already giving you something.
Yeah, for free. This is not to say that there weren't bad examples before this. And it's also not to say that it's the worst it's going to get. I feel the point of no return was a Mass Effect 3 controversy where people were dissatisfied with the ending and just started screaming and crying and barfing on their shirts until they got BioWare to quote-unquote fix the ending. And this is what that is. The idea that when you're...
that was reprehensible garbage.
Yeah. And that was the point of no return because they got what they fucking wanted. When you consume a piece of media that you don't like, your options are to either be well, hopefully the next one will be better, or to stop. I can think, I've been disappointed with stuff before. Earlier this year, Nina and I played the new Guilty Gear, and we're very disappointed that Dizzy, one of our favorite characters and one of the most important characters in the franchise, was in the game for 11 seconds. But we didn't bombard the creator Daisuke Ishiwatari with hateful, threatening emails. One, because I love and respect the man more than my own father. And also, two, because that's just a shitty thing to do for so many reasons. What I think of what he does should have no bearing on what it's up to him or to any creator to take input and use it as they see fit going forward. Under no circumstances are they beholden to change what they've already done. And I suppose there are exceptions if what they do is actually reprehensible or offensive or anything, which...
But even then, you could just boycott it.
Yeah, just stop watching. Like,
tell your followers, hey, I don't believe what this thing is doing. I don't like it. And that's it. They're done. If you want to say an opinion on the internet, just say it to yourself. You don't have to direct it at somebody.
And I mean, nothing about this controversy has any validity. But like, it's not to say that there aren't, valid criticisms that have been levied against the show. We talked about that a bit last week about the whole, Jasper and Bismuth thing. That is a point that can be, discussed rationally. It's a concern that you can express as a human being who doesn't have to threaten people with violence over the internet. And there have been people on both sides who are both being psychopaths about it, and people who are like, hey, maybe this is something that we should address and be more aware of. Yeah. Which was the tact we took. Right. Because we're not psychos.
No, but yeah, like, and that's why she deleted her Twitter, because that's what she believes. She believes that, she's a human being, she has a life outside of Steven Universe, she's not in control of everything. People can enjoy the show and critique the show, but she doesn't owe thousands of people her time and answers for every possible question or qualm they might have with her work.
You know who she owes what? Is she owes her employer a storyboard that she's been assigned to do. She makes an episode that is to her boss's liking, and then she's good.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, this is pretty much like I woke up today and I was already done with it before I had even fucking finished breakfast. So I'm just... She
deactivated her Twitter yesterday. I didn't get to see any of this because I was doing other stuff. Probably work. No, I was off.
I saw a little bit of it. I saw the tail end of it, and then I was like, well, I guess this was a thing. But I didn't know how... Because, sometimes people are just like, I'm so fucking sick of Twitter, I wish I could just fucking delete it, and then they don't. But then I woke up and I was just like, oh, fuck, she did it.
It's a real shit. I wish I could say to her how much her work means to me, because her brand of humor works for me on such an amazing level that I've never thought of before. Like Nina can attest to this. I've been on this Lauren's, she says some weird, goofy shit that's hilarious, but it's also always come from such a sincere place.
Yeah.
She's never just, fucking around. It's never a bit with her.
Yeah, Lauren Zook and, Casey Green are, Nikki's two favorite people on the internet.
They're similar in a lot of ways, but very, very distinct personalities.
And his two favorite artists.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes about Nikki.
Yeah, that speaks volumes about me.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway. And the thing, this is a problem that goes beyond just Steven Universe. This is the, where I don't even want to say nerd culture, because the line honestly is being drawn, but the idea of entitled fans.
Fanatic.
Yeah, that culture, it is reaching a breaking point, and something's gonna give, and it's not gonna be good. There has been a campaign.
Advice I could give, don't be in a fandom. Just like things with your friends.
Yeah.
Make stuff, put it out there, but don't engage.
Yeah, I've talked a lot before about the toxicity of fandom as a concept, and it's something I would need to reassess, and I'm not willing to go into it now, but I would say listen to Tooch. But did you guys know that since the show's release, there has been a campaign to get Teen Titans Go canceled? It's this shit is not isolated to Steven Universe.
Oh, I know.
This is
not at all.
This is one massive incident in a massively popular show that has garnered a lot of attention, but this shit is going on constantly for everybody.
I feel like the reason
I remember
that it's Steven Universe. It's that it's Steven Universe because this fucking show is the antithesis of all of these awful fans that are spewing garbage in its name. I'm like, do you watch it? Steven, not like you.
A Twitter user who I really like. I think they're a really smart person. At Vondell Swain did a thread about this that I retweeted, and I would like to quote it here. Honestly, I can't think of much media that deserves a better fandom than Steven U does, and I'm bummed that's not the case. I mean, there's such wonderful media being made, and all of it deserves the best, but Steven Universe is built to address this stuff. It's about compassion. It's about love and respect. It's about knowing other people are people no matter what you feel. And it's just hard to see people acting antithetical to the priorities of a show built to help understand people and built to help people understand and love themselves. And honestly, this exact same shit happened with My Little Pony. Of
Yep.
people, the shitheads who made
Yep.
things break so bad were people who were fundamentally ignoring the entire point of the show.
Yep.
Children's cartoons have never been this overwhelmingly thematically
I was
positive.
there at the forefront for that shit. I
Ever.
watched the My Little Pony fandom just descend into entitled toxicity.
Yep.
They have never made shows like this before that have this thematic heart of positivity and humanism and compassion. It's never existed like this before, and it's just not being picked up. And here's that's not fair. It is being picked up, but this loud minority, it's a minority, but it's too big, of just loud shitheads who are so abusive and entitled and fundamentally horrible. And it's something that we as a culture need to address, and I wish I knew how to do that.
There is no such thing as anonymity on the internet. Like,
I think this is such a...
I don't understand. I was watching something else. There was a channel I watched, like a fashion blog channel on YouTube, and the women who run it are both plus-sized women. And they basically said, look, if you say something to us on any of our social media platformers that you wouldn't say to us in person, then you're getting banned. That's it. I think that's a good rule. If you have something you want to say to somebody and you wouldn't say it to their face, then don't direct message it to them.
And like,
people are people.
And you can't blame the receiving end of this, of like, just ban them, when it's this overwhelming.
Yeah, it's like, it's not...
You know, some people have the stomach to take it. Not everybody does, because it can get so bad. And I've never been on the...
Like, it needs to start being taught, because
Here-
like, in
here's the-
school they only teach you, like, oh, be careful of cyberbullying, and be careful of getting accidentally molested by a creepy old dude in a chat room, and they haven't caught up to the actual, like, social ethics of being a person on the internet. Because you're still interacting with other people, and you're responsible for your actions. Anyway, let's just...
Everybody be better. Because
Yes.
ignoring this problem is part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that has been going on for a while. We haven't talked about it before, so it's on us as well.